All right, so Secret Agent Vanessa is going to be coming out to global, obviously, with Zora. Now her kit has been shown on JP. So just real quick, whenever you hear me refer to JP, it's because I'm going to talk about it a bit later, but I was given this kit early and I was sure that, well, I mean, Vanessa would be coming out to JP. So I was talking about it within that context, but that was not the case. Black Divider did end up coming out. So we're going to have to, some things don't really make sense within the context, but I will update it in a future video. But me talking about the kit, all is still relevant. That's all I have to really say. But yeah, whenever I talk about JP, it's because I really did think that Vanessa was coming out to JP, which is not the case. But just keep everything I say with that context in mind. So we're going to talk about it. She basically gaps the game. I'd say she creates a tier of her own at this current point in time. Because it's either a run her or you lose type of scenario in most cases, all right? She is that good. And I mean, Zora, who's Zora, right? Who is Zora after this? That's all I'm saying. This is Summer Noelle 2.0 in my eyes. And we're going to see how it plays out in game. Now, of course, one thing to consider is that obviously she might not gap the game for long. Finneroll, Black Divider, right? Charlotte, Yami, and also Raya are going to be the next units coming out in the next 2 or so months. And I think Charlotte and Yami especially are going to be the kind of perfect counter to Vanessa, which we're probably going to either talk about at the end of this video or in another video, all depending. Now, I've been given her kit on a type of private server. I don't have access to it, but a video showing her kit off in English. So it's going to make this much easier. You guys will be able to comprehend a lot more. And I hope this does end up helping you out to kind of see how it's going to work, and we could get a kind of clearer view and just talk about it. Now, I have access technically to some of her stats. They didn't go through all of it, but I do want to say, first of all, thank you to Garena for giving me this, because obviously it lets me make content earlier, okay? And in cases like this, it is great. Now, one thing I do want to say, what content do you want me to make from this in early, like in an earlier standpoint? If I have access to the kits early, what content do you want to see come out right away or a couple days after, if you see I have like access to this stuff earlier? Because now you got to consider global and JP are caught up. Okay, global and JP are caught up to each other in terms of units. Because of that, I mean, obviously, I kind of need the kits early if I'm able to make like solid opinions by the time they come out on global, because now I don't have any preparation time, right? So having the kit early is really good for me. So thank you to Garena for that. And of course, I can't show it to you guys because then I lose access to it, and then I can't try and build teams, well, how I think the builds will go for these units early. So I just want to kind of preface that, but I think this is a great opportunity for me and the community in terms of me being able to help you guys out. So now that we got that settled, okay, let's start going into it. So she's a dark debuffer, okay? Dark debuffer, and I mean, it's going to be pretty bad, okay? All things considered, for her to be dark, because that means she's type disadvantage against most of the game. And the only one, like, who she's technically safe against is Noelle, Valkyrie Noelle, in terms of DPSs. But then you got two AoE DPSs, Yuno and Julius, but she kind of has a bit of a counter towards that, which we're going to talk about. So skill 1, very strong skill 1, where it's SP -3. So on turns where you don't have ult, just SP -3 on whoever you hit is very good, okay? This is great against mono green teams, okay? I could see cases where you start off with this, very rare cases, but I could see it happening, okay? So skill 1, I think, is something we could brush over very quickly, all right? Now, if we go on, the skill 2 is where it starts to get crazy. So with the skill page, you get the 60% reduced mobility on an enemy. That is crazy, okay? That is absolutely insane. But the 2-turn silence is what gets it for me, all right? Why is that? Okay, why is that? Well, let's look at the tier list right now. The top DPSs, which there's going to be a little tier list change. Zora goes down, Yuno goes up. Just want to make that clear. 2 out of 3 of the DPSs have a skill 2 AoE. Now, you're going to see it a bit later, but Vanessa does have protection. So that skill 2 AoE is going to be one of the only things that can hit Vanessa. And in Julius' case, with the new skill page, on global, this does not affect you as much. Julius is definitely, I would say, going to be S tier, okay, on global. Well, probably S+, but like, he is way better on JP, if that makes sense, right? Because that AoE skill 2 is way stronger because it does double to triple the damage on JP. Just want to keep that in mind. The new skill page increases his damage by a lot. Check out the showcase video. But having that AoE is going to be very good against Vanessa, where they're both type advantage, okay? So that's something I want to make clear, right? Is that this skill 2 silence plays against that. It plays against it. because they can't use that skill 2 silence, that skill 2 AoE. And in Julius's case, that is toxic. And then with the mobility reduction, it's great. And this is what I mean, why you should save your dupes. I said it for real, okay? I think it is pretty clear that if you are not using a unit, or the unit does not have good dupes, maybe I should make a tier list if you guys want a tier list to see what dupes to really save for moments like these, because keep in mind, the P shop will allow you to get Vanessa skill page for free. So if you don't get Vanessa skill page, you could get it through this, putting that out there. So skill 2, very good. Silence plus mobility reduction, but you have to hit. It is not just like a debuff or like just an attack, right? Like kind of like Zora's debuffs. So just kind of want to put that out there. But very, very good. Okay, very, very good with that mobility reduction. Now on the alt, okay. Here is when it starts to get crazy. 100% mobility lower. They go to 0, okay? 0. This is insane, but her biggest problem is if she gets taunted, okay? So guess who her biggest opposition is? Green Veto, but it's going to depend on the team. But Green Veto works and doesn't work against her, okay? But this mobility reduction put with Disarm is insane. Okay, these two together is crazy because not only is their turn delayed, but the next 2 turns after, this is going to affect Julius big time, especially Julius. But the next 2 turns after, damage lowered significantly, okay? Significantly. And this is amazing counterplay against which teams? Let's think about it. 1, Julius teams. She is quicker than Julius, putting that out there, okay? 2, Black Asta teams. Why? Lotus. Mainly, this is a Lotus counter more than a Black Asta counter, but why Lotus? Because Lotus is able to remove buffs, but he can't remove debuffs, okay? So this is going to apply. The 42% disarm is going to apply. Black Asta is going to lose his damage still. And then if you put this on Black Asta, well, he's not going to be in a proper turn order because the mobility depletion is going to be there. So then afterwards, you could get even more buffs in before Asta even uses his cleave, right? So Black Asta with Lotus is not going to be an option as much anymore because Black Asta won't get that lifesteal from using the anti-magic ult, right? With Witch Queen, considering that. Because, well, his turn's going to be way after if the mobility depletion does go. And then the protection. It's 1 turn. Literally the only problem I have with her kit is that it's 1 turn. The protection. Why is that? Let's think about it. You have mobility depletion, but 1 turn protection. Okay, you put the mobility depletion most likely on the DPS. That protection is going to be useless in those cases. Her main thing is that she wants to be protected from the DPS. Okay, she wants to be protected from that AoE skill too. So if you deplete them to 0 but have the protection, what is the protection really serving as? If like you're going to have 1 turn, okay? You get rid of that 1 turn, most likely in a lot of cases before they really go, right? So it doesn't really do much for you, that protection, because you mobility deplete them, and then in some cases you should be able to go again before them, which makes the protection not be useful, okay? Now, in cases where there's a combo, sure, that could for sure help you out, but that won't always be the case, all right? But it's going to depend. For example, Julius gets a speed increase, or he's with William. William skill 2's Julius, gives him the mobility increase. Julius still goes before Vanessa, okay? The cases like that, gonna be good. But if this was 2 turn, I think she would have been like triple S. But right now, because it's only 1 turn, I think she's double S. Remember, type disadvantage is still huge. Huge, okay? Now, we're going to continue with that and talk about the kit again. 50% mobility reduction combo is insane. And why is that? Well, because she could put this with Noelle turn 1. Noelle is the quickest unit in the game, but in the future, she might be able to put this with Finral. What's that going to do? Well, guess what? You just use this combo turn 1 with Vanessa, and then she could basically make it so Charlotte cannot attack or cannot use her skill, okay? This is why it is insane, right? Because you put this on them. You put this on them, or mainly on Charlotte, and then, well, I mean, Charlotte's not going to be able to ult right away, right? 50% mobility reduction. Going to be great. And in some team comps, this is going to be even better, okay? Even better, right? Because you get a speed increase with this mobility reduction, for example, with Finral or Rill, right? Mainly Rill right now, Finral in the future because Finral's in 2 weeks. Well, there you go. Mobility reduction with speed increase is a very nice combination. So she's got 3 skills with mobility reduction or effing depletion, right? So 50% is going to be very good because obviously you could turn 1 combo with Noelle, but that's also going to take away from the DPSs. But In the case where Vanessa's there, obviously the DPSs are technically going to be taking less because one, mobility depletion on the enemy DPSs, and two, what's it called? Weapon disarm. Okay, so these are her skills. Her base kit is already very strong. Okay, very, very strong. Now, the one thing that plays against her is resolution talent. It's going to be very, very good. Okay, if you do manage to get the block, going to be very good. But that's why you might want to run some accuracy on Vanessa. So just kind of putting that out there, obviously. It's good that we don't have any total defense buffers besides Black Asta. And Black Asta obviously is going to get cooked in this. So very, very good. So we're done with the base kit. Now we're going to get into why it gets absolutely insane. And that is her unique passive. This is where she gaps the game. So what does it do? If it's a rainbow team, you apply total silence on all enemies for 1 turn. Bro, like, what the hell? I don't know what they were thinking, but I've been like kind of thinking about it. And yes, there will be some problems that will arise, even with this for Vanessa. More so on JP, but on global, if you get her to 125, oh my god, like, you win. It's just, it's over, right? But this total silence is going to be very good. Okay, now there is obviously the counter, which is the silent skill page, but that's only good on mainly supports. Okay, so only the supports will really be able to get rid of it, which is why having that combo is so good. 50% mobility reduction on Charlotte if she does remove the silence is great, and that's why you want to have it. Okay, you have the total silence, but in the cases where Charlotte does remove it, you have to always think in mind, okay, they're gonna have the total blizzard skill page, something like that, the blizzard skill page, where there's an 80% chance to remove the silence, which is gonna then make you want to reduce Charlotte's mobility so she doesn't apply the damage reduction, which is why her whole kit works very well together. Okay, so this is gonna be very good. Now, it's a rainbow team, and because she's dark, I think it's okay. It's just that the team compositions, as of right now, are seemingly a bit weird. And the one thing is that I hate it due to the fact that it's like run Vanessa or lose. But then there's also the fact that it's like on JP, right? The real rewards come from arena, right? Not pick and ban. But pick and ban is where Vanessa really is going to be good in the future, or is going to be what I think a good release. Not necessarily good, because obviously she's going to be good, but I mean a good release, because then you're going to start getting more team comps, right? You're going to have, I'm going to talk about that more at the end, but I just kind of want to talk like, there's going to be multiple team comps, so then one team's going to have Vanessa, one team won't. But when both teams have Vanessa and everyone has the total silence, everyone is going to have these debuffs, then it gets kind of crazy. But this is why she kind of gaps the game, because if you don't run her, you're kind of losing. Okay, on global, it's going to suck when you go into RT and every match is going to have Vanessa for the 2 weeks. Then obviously the teams are going to start kind of spreading out. We're going to find more team comps, okay? But it's going to be very difficult to find any matches without her, which is why I'm a bit unsure of my thoughts on Vanessa as of right now, because it is almost too good. But I don't mind the power creep when you consider the units we see in the future. Okay, I'm going to make it a separate video because I think it's very important to kind of look at this with the lens in a separate video. I don't want to make this video 30 minutes, okay? So you're going to see this very soon. Another video right on the leaks. Stay tuned for that. But you can also go back to the previous one. We talked about it a little bit, right? But this total silence is going to be very good. It's just the team compositions are going to be hard, okay? Because you're going to need certain things to make Vanessa work. And it's not like there's an infinite amount of units, right? So we'll have to see how it plays out. We're going to have to see a bunch of stuff. We'll see how JP uses this Vanessa too to get a better idea. But I think the teams are just going to be a bit restrictive with this total silence in mind. Okay, that's kind of what I wanted to say. Now we get into the dupe passives. All right, I think it is going to be pretty important. Now, she does get 10, she gets 10k HP, 1000 defense at 125, which is going to be good for her because obviously you want her to tank, okay? Just putting it out there. But the main thing is just how she works with the other half of her kit, being the skill page passive and the dupe passives. It's crazy, right? It's crazy, and this is where and why it kind of gets a bit rough with her, is that you want to get to turn 30. Now, on JP, it's a bit different on global. So I want to explain one thing. On JP, obviously, stall meta, right? For sure. Second thing, you're going to make it past turn 50 because a lot of healers, Witch Queen, Mimosa mainly, but Mimosa is so prevalent in a lot of teams, and Witch Queen obviously mono red. But the thing is, getting past turn 50 is usually commonplace. But for Vanessa to live, that's a different story because she's type disadvantage against everyone. and that's going to make a difference. Okay, on global, shouldn't be that much of a problem though, because the main AoE that you want to worry about is Julius's, but no skill page, so Julius's damage is like half of what it is on JP. Okay, so global is going to have it pretty good for that, and I mean, it makes sense why JP got that Julius skill page now, because there's no AoE DPSs that are able to really take care of Vanessa. Okay, I'm talking about it with protection in mind. Okay, that's like kind of what I'm wanting to talk about, and then also taunts and also Veto, right? So we'll have to see how it plays out. But Veto and Vanessa, it should be a very strong combo in the right circumstances. So we'll talk about that. But okay, let's talk about it. Once you reach 30 battle turns, 2 dupes inflict SP -8, 5 dupes inflict 80% increased damage taken, incapacitate. So you get her to dupe 5, and you get to turn 30, and you basically win the game. If the other team doesn't have Vanessa, if she stays alive, you win the game. Now, I like this type of unit. Why is that? Because it hyper fixates, it makes the enemy hyper fixate on this Vanessa while letting everyone else run loose. And that's going to be a fun ass unit to run in RTA, because everyone's going to try and focus on Vanessa, but then that makes it so that you lose your sight on everyone else. It's a very similar case to how Mimosa worked, right? Because you wanted to get rid, a lot of cases, you wanted to get rid of Mimosa early season 1 because you didn't want her to res, but then by trying to get, I'm talking about Clover Mimosa days, right? But by trying to get Clover Mimosa killed, that means everyone else was still alive and well, which is why a unit like Vanessa is a unit I like. Okay, so it's going to be very fun. It's going to make for a fun playstyle in my opinion. And yeah, 80% incapacitate with SP -8. If both teams have this, then that's toxic. But if it's only one team, you basically win by 30 turns, right? Minute 30 turns hits, GG, right? So that's kind of basically all we really need to say on this. I mean, it's crazy. Do you need the max dupe? Honestly, no, because I think we're going to have to see it play, right? I would say, I'm going to make a before you summon video, but I definitely think that probably you might not even need to go for dupes, because in a lot of cases now and in the future, we're gonna have to see for JP, you might not even get to 30 turns with Vanessa. Okay, so just putting that out there, you might not even need to get the dupes for her, because you might not get to 30 dupes. She's gonna serve her purpose, but obviously she becomes like SS with this in mind, but in some cases it won't work out. Okay, that's just kind of how it is. I just want to kind of put that out there. Now I just thought of this, kind of funny, but like, you know, Goodlity kind of, yes, what is it, 1 turn? I forgot. What is Goodlity's protection? 2 turns? 1 turn. Okay, never mind. Maybe not as crazy, but kind of funny that Goodlity's protection might help Vanessa live a bit longer. But yeah, no, don't use Goodlity. It's just kind of funny that it might have been clutch if it was 2 turns. But I digress. So now we could kind of go on. Okay, so we saw that. Now the skill page. It's the same thing. When you reach 30 battle turns, you get 50% reduced defense, up to 80% with max dupe. This is good because you don't need to max dupe it, because what? Okay, do you really need the max dupe when you're already putting 80% incapacitate and SP -8 and now 50% minus defense? I don't think you need that extra 30%, right? Obviously, I'm saying this in mind that if you're even thinking of going for max dupe, it's a max dupe skill page, it's because you're going for max dupe of her dupes for her enhancement, right? So, you know, just saying it, you don't need to go for max dupe on this, and it's probably better to save the skill page dupes for further characters. I feel like Finral, Black Divider, units like that are going to need it more. But yeah, no, this is going to be insane. Okay, everything together. 50% minus defense, 80% incapacitate, SP -8 basically becomes where they can't play, right? They just can't play. So, yeah, this also kind of validates the leaks, because there was the reduced defense, there was the SP, and there was the incapacitate all there on the 30 turns. So all the leaks are validated through this kit. All right, I just want to kind of put that out there. But yeah, no, when we look at the rest, like it's kind of crazy. So Vanessa is going to be a very good unit. For sure. And if we look at it, right, let's go on the tier list. Obviously, it needs a bit of reworking, but she isn't on any of, she's on she's on SS tier caliber. Why is that? Because you could, if you're, all of these units not being ran, like if you're not running any of these, that's fine, right? There's different team builds, but not running Vanessa is going to be a problem for you, which is why she's in her own SS tier. That absolute silence turn 1 is great. Now, what does this mean? You know, it gets more value because you could block that, and obviously every supporter does get the more value because of this one skill page, but obviously for free to plays, then there's kind of no going around it. But this White Blizzard having an 80% chance to remove silence and total silence at the start of the turn is going to be good for William, okay? It's going to be good for Charlotte, and that's kind of it. I guess Mimosa, not Rill, because Rill also needs his, where is it? Real low. He needs his speed. Okay, I'm just saying that. So Charlotte and William are going to be looking pretty nice even in this circumstance. And we're going to have to see, though. We're really going to have to see how things do end up playing out. Obviously, there's not a 100% chance to remove it, so got to keep that in mind. But yeah, it's looking very good for Vanessa. The one thing is, this is where it worries me. Vanessa and Zora have the same stats, okay? The same level 1 stats, which usually means the same maxed out stats, okay? That's kind of how it works. And if we do go in game, okay, just to kind of check out Zora's stats, all right? They are on the lower end of things, okay? Now, there is something to also confirm from Zora's stats. Usually they always share the same stuff. Like if you have the same, they have the same attack, magic attack, defense, and HP at level 1. So they're gonna have the same stuff at max. Zora's at 112, which means Vanessa should be at 112, which is gonna make her much better. Because if she was any lower than 109, there would have been cases where she went after the DPS, which is not what you want. But just looking at this, yeah, if Vanessa's out 112, great. But her defense is on the lower side. And how we could kind of confirm that is just looking on Pride Win, okay? And if we look at debuffers, SSR, we see Zora's at the bottom. Now, the stats are not 100% accurate, okay? But look at this. Like, he's a bit on the lower side. There is up to 500 defense more than for HP, a lot higher, okay? A lot higher, right? So just want to put that out there, that Lotus, who right now in Global is not that tanky, has almost 20k more HP. So I'd say Vanessa is going to want to be someone you 125 when it does come out because she's going to need it badly, right? The stats... Like, Lotus has lower defense, but having more HP in this type of meta is just way more worth it. 17k more is definitely a lot more. So, I feel like the correct build on Vanessa is going to be defense, okay? Lower HP, higher defense. You're going to be able to work more with higher defense if you're comparing Lotus to Vanessa. But we're going to have to see. As of right now, just very excited for Vanessa. She's looking very good. Amazing shit from the dev team, okay? I'm not going to lie. We needed something like this. People are going to be like, oh my god, power creep. We went through 6 months of the mono meta where there was no team better than the other, where there was nothing better than the other. Okay, 6 months. We got mono green, but mono red was still as good, if not better. Okay, we got a whole mono blue team where they could almost not be random PvP because it was not worth it. Now, every single unit that has released, Valkyrie Noelle, Gray, Zora has had a purpose. Vanessa too. And I'm enjoying it. Now, we're going to go more in depth as to why Vanessa is a good release next video. And we're going to explain how the meta has been going and why Vanessa is good. But that's the next video because this is already a about 22-minute video. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.